Where is Jeremy? He's supposed to be here with this car. Supposed to be reviewing this Genesis today, or... Well, here's Jeremy.
Oh, hey, Matt.
Hey! I thought you were supposed to drive the car here.
Oh, no, I'm just taking it for a walk.
The car's here! I guess we can get started.
Yeah, well, let's go.
Let's go. Hi everybody, welcome to Livewire Review. I'm Matt.
And I'm Jeremy.
And today we have the 2024 Genesis GV70 Electrified. And honestly, Genesis is a really interesting company. When you take, Hyundais and Kias and you roll them into the more luxury side of things, I love that they've left no bolt unchanged and they've really gone after that comfort, performance, and just luxury category. And I can't wait to get into this one.
Well, with that, let's get started.
So let's start this one out with, of course, the walk around. So I did pop the hood here. Genesis is really going for that luxury brand, and I like to compare it to Lexus right off the hop, where, oh, you paid a lot of money for this thing, you don't want to see any of this stuff. So we've hidden it all in a sea of plastic and a couple of stabilizers, but you do get a nice little storage pocket down here. You can fit a fair bit of stuff in there by the looks of it. Top up your wiper fluid, and you can't see anything else. So let's just forget about that. As far as the styling on this vehicle goes though, I absolutely love this diamond pattern grille. And one thing I really dig is how they blended that charge port in there so nicely. I actually had to go looking for it when we first walked up to this thing. I was checking the back, looking for a pop cap like a traditional gas vehicle. And I'm like, where is it? And then I saw this symbol and I went, oh my God, they blended it in so seamlessly. And seamlessly is kind of an interesting word to use when you start talking about the design, the lines, and this hood. I love this hook on the front. It doesn't have to, connect to anything. It doesn't have to go anywhere. It's its own standalone design. The headlight kind of being completely wrapped and protected by that. Not to mention just the cool stylized lines in the front of this thing. Now, of course, down low, you're getting a set of 20-inch alloys with that, really nice kind of matte polished shine to them. The large Genesis branded quad piston brakes. I love how they stand out. They got that Brembo feel to them. Probably made by Brembo, let's be real. Down the side, same thing. That line that started all the way at the front carries through all the way to the taillight. And it's, again, just that element of motion while being parked. And it's just something that I absolutely love on this thing. Around the back, same thing. Michelin tires, nice wide tire, sport tire, gives you that real good grip. And when you get around to the back here, not a whole lot to talk about. Nice, sleek, clean. I do like that the trunk button is very well labeled. You're not, down here doing the, where the heck's that button? But overall, looking really good.
So I'm under the hood here with the Genesis GV70 Electric, and just like the Ioniq series of vehicles, this one uses the 800 volt architecture, which means that you can charge 10 to 80% in 18 minutes on a road trip, and it has an A-class heat pump, which means you'll preserve some of that range in the winter. Now, speaking of range, through my testing, you get about 360 kilometers of range. I'll put some of the other figures down below. Ironically, this vehicle gets a little bit better range than it's rated for in most weather, and with that A-class heat pump system, you should still maintain most of your range in sub-zero temperatures. Now, speaking about the drivetrain, this is an all-wheel drive dual motor setup. You get 429 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque, and you can go 0 to 60 in as little as 3.7 seconds. Now that is done with the boost button. You get 10 seconds at 483 horsepower, enabled to get that 0 to 60 time. Now, speaking about a couple other things here, I love that the charging port is on the front. It allows you to pull up to a charger nice and easy and just plug that cable right in. Well, that's it for the under the hood. Let's take a look at the rest of the car. Well, we're back here at the rear suspension on the Genesis GV70 Electric, and there's a couple of interesting things here. You're going to find a multi-link suspension with coil springs on the back, and you're going to find the same motor that you'll see in the Ioniq 5. But the difference here is that this one is actually mounted upwards instead of having the motor hanging over the back of the suspension. Now in this car, that actually gives it a pretty good advantage. Despite the fact that the weight is a little bit higher, it means it's right over that rear axle. So this vehicle is very planted when it takes off. And you'll notice you can see the back of the battery here. Unfortunately, because this is an ICE platform, there is no more room for the battery. So that is why the 77.4 kilowatt hour battery was used in this vehicle rather than a much larger option. In the future, Genesis vehicles will be built on the eGMP platform and will have a little bit more room for a battery.
So here under the front of the car, we have an additional 160 kilowatt motor. Now, there's a couple interesting things under here. It's really cradled in this full subframe here. So that really kind of gives it that planted, like Jeremy mentioned in the back, planted feel. It's going to be supported in the front, supported in the back. It's not going to go anywhere. And I really like how it's kind of sitting up and back, kind of bringing some of that sprung weight more mid-body rather than keeping it forward. In addition to that, you've got your power steering rack, the motor mounted externally, and both of those are ahead of the drive shafts, giving it that more luxury, even sport feel when you're making your tighter corners. In addition to that, you also get your dual ball joint suspension setup on the lowers here. Same thing, giving it that more luxury, more sport feel. All in all, everything under here is really condensed, but it looks super simple. And that's one of the things I love about this product is despite being that luxury vehicle, from a technician standpoint, if I'm getting in here, I'm like, oh, this is so easy to work on. This is so nice. I love that. Not the, forgive me, Mercedes and Porsche effect where it's like, I don't want to fix that. I'd work on this.
So the Genesis GV70, as you can see here, is equipped with something called the Smart Trunk. Now this is a very handy feature if you have a lot of bags already in your hands and you cannot get to your keys and you cannot stand on one foot and wave it underneath the vehicle. So this allows access to the back of the car hands-free. Now another nice feature about this is you'll actually see that the hatch is a little too low right now. That's because you can set the height manually so that it can fit in your garage. Now I actually had to do this with my garage because this was getting close to the garage door. So all you have to do is put it in the position you want and hold this button down. So for right now, I'm gonna lift this up and we're gonna talk about the trunk space in the back. You're gonna find 503 liters of space with the seats up, and you'll find that there's space for your power cable here, and there is a vehicle to load feature in the back. Now, what I'm surprised about on a luxury vehicle is there is manual seat releases to put the seats down instead of the power option that you would find in, let's say, a Hyundai Palisade. And now, the storage space with the seats down, you'll find 1,600 liters of storage space with the seats folded down. Now you saw we actually removed that cover for the back here, and we have access to that V2L connector as mentioned before, and there is handy storage underneath the floor here, just like you would find in, let's say, a Hyundai Santa Fe. Now that's lots of room for your IKEA flat pack boxes. Let's move on to the next segment. I'm in the back seat of the electrified GV70, and the dimensions in here are just slightly different than the ICE version, but I'm happy to report at 6'1" tall, there is room for my head. And I'll show you right now, there's a nice handy recline feature on these seats, which actually goes pretty far back. So if it doesn't quite fit you, look at that, you have so many options with this reclining seat. And now, one thing I like to see in the back seat of a crossover utility vehicle is these sunshades built into the door panels. This is a very, very nice feature. And I have to say the seats are incredibly comfortable. And despite the fact that this was built on an ICE platform, I'm happy to report that there is only a tiny hump in the middle. It's almost a flat floor in here. In the back seat, you're going to find heated seats. Unfortunately, no cooled seats in the back of this one, but you will find that there are gauges here for climate control in the rear. And I'm very happy to see that. I'm also happy to see this headroom with this beautiful sunroof that we have. Last thing I'm going to mention while I'm back here, this car seat. If you'll take a look here, it actually fits even with the passenger seat in a comfortable seating position. This is something I look for as I carry 3 kids in the back of my vehicle, and it's nice to see that there's room for all 3 of them. Now, as usual, in a crossover of this side, 3 car seats are not going to fit side by side, but a couple of grown kids in a car seat or even 2 car seats will fit just fine. Well, we're in the 2024 Genesis GV70 Electric, and we're going for a drive.
We are indeed. So right off the hop, I will admit, we are filming this at the end of a work day. And I think that that's relevant because I opened the door and I saw white leather and I went, I don't think I'm allowed to get in this thing. I'm too filthy to do this. So I washed my hands 3 times, so we should be okay. But that brings up what I want to talk about, this leather-wrapped everything in here, up to and including the little extra bellows at the back of the steering wheel. Just little attentions to the detail, all the, leathers through the console, down in the dash even. I mean, everything, even just the stitching in the airbag cover here is just very cool. I really like that they've done that, as well as cascading those diamond patterns from the grille throughout the vehicle. They hide them in the knobs, they hide them in the shifter. The shifter is interesting. Jeremy spent some more time in this than I have. He says you get used to it. The first time I got in, I couldn't move it.
However, once in a while, you might confuse it with the dial on top there.
Yeah. If you're not looking down and you just go over and grab something, you're like, oh yeah, there's a knob. All right, spin it. Oh no, I'm in park. No, this thing is, it's luxury. It's ultra luxury. I love that it just says boost too in the steering wheel. And I also wanted to mention that because I'm going to make a turn. I'm going to hit that button.
Well, what's nice about that button is it also works in comfort mode. So you can just hit it if you want to pass somebody and you're good to go.
Just like that.
Oh my God.
That was 0 to 100 in a 60 zone. We're going to slow right back down now. Woo!
Yeah, so that's one thing I have definitely noticed about this vehicle over the week. I am used to a quick vehicle because I have a Model 3 long range with the boost, and it also goes 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds.
Woo.
But this thing, feeling it just waft into that power and just take off like a rocket. Now, I'm used to electric cars, but that is exciting. Yep. This car is fun to drive. It really is.
It had a little bit of a wander in the front, almost like it wanted to break free, but it contained itself.
Yeah.
So it had a moment there where I thought I was going to have to steer it or get out of it, but it held the road and just kept pulling.
Okay.
My goodness.
Now, I'm going to switch it to sport mode, hit that boost button, let's do it again. Because you'll notice the dampers actually adjust right away. You can feel the change in the ride.
I felt
the moment you change that drive mode.
Yep. All right, well, let's come around the bend. Let's make sure there's no speed traps right here where they love to have them. Alrighty. I think it looks pretty clear to me. Okay, and boost mode and go.
Oh my God. Oh. Okay, you can feel those dampers.
Okay, that was 140 kilometers an hour. Holy cow.
Yep. Just like my car, this gets up to 160 if you're passing somebody. It's just incredible. So, and that's in this beautiful luxury automobile with this smooth ride.
The boost mode, when we were just in comfort, or we were
that was sport mode.
That was sport. No, I'm saying before we were just in regular.
We were just in comfort mode.
Comfort mode. There was a bit of lag.
Yep.
In the takeoff.
And comfort mode does have that lag.
Eliminated it. There was no longer a lag. Oh my goodness. My foot wasn't even all the way down and it was already pulling. Wow.
Yeah. So that's one thing you'll notice with this car, and it's a good thing this car is adjustable in almost every fashion. Hyundai likes to give you control over their vehicles, and you'll notice you got your regen panels, you have your iPedal, and this one also has the option of no regen at all. It'll just coast if you put it to 0.
Yeah.
So I have found it's most comfortable, obviously, in comfort mode. That is the default one that it goes to every time you start up the vehicle. And I found that level 2 regen is good, because every time you change the regen, it also changes how the accelerator pedal feels. And level 3 regen is a little too aggressive, especially if you turn off the cruise control. Because as soon as you turn off cruise, all of a sudden it's in regen, and it's a little bit jerky. So level 2, level 1, they're really good. It just depends on what you like. So there's something in the driver's seat here that both Matt and I love. It is called the Ergo seat. It's basically what I would call a massaging seat. And when you turn it on for the back and the bottom, I have used this every single time I have driven this car. It is so comfortable. It has inflatable bladders that actually go across and kind of like massage your butt and your back. And it is so invigorating. Now, they use this feature for a couple other things here, and Matt's going to talk about something called Smart Posture Care.
It's a super cool thing, and it's one of these, I'm scrolling through the dash, looking at different things that this does, and I get to seat settings, and I read Smart Posture Care. All right, what's that all about? Well, if you're comfortable not lying about your weight, then you can dive right in, tell this car how tall you are, how much you weigh, and just your overall dimensions. Then it'll look at the seating position you're in, and it will actually make adjustments and suggestions to your seating position that would give you the best back and spine posture possible, i.e. improving your improving your posture, improving your spinal health. And it's just like, I read it twice and I thought, no way. So I put in my numbers, and sure enough, it was like, this is where you should be. And between that and the massage I'm currently receiving, I get it. Okay. Cool, I feel pretty good. I could do that long road trip in this thing. That's actually quite nice.
Now, I can't pronounce the doctor's name who helped with it, but it is designed in help with a doctor. So it's really good for your back. The seat has been designed in such a way that's very comfortable and is actually good for your health, just like you said. And there is another feature on there. It's a 14-way power seat. You can actually extend it so it reaches your legs if you like that, or you can drop it so it doesn't touch your legs, which is not something you get in most seats.
So what are some of the other things that we get in this package here? Well, down low here, you're getting 2 USB-A ports as well as a wireless charging pouch, which you can kind of also hide if you don't really want to look at your phone in there. Just the 2 cup holders in the front, and this knob, which controls your different settings on your screen here, your radio, you can circle through things, also is a touch screen portion. Am I correct?
Yeah, you can actually type on the top there. So if you need to look up a contact and you say A, you'll be able to get to A. And of course, P or whatever you need to get to.
So you can just jot down little notes on it and it will mimic it on the screen. So, I mean, that's just super cool, especially if you're just doing like a hands-free, oh yeah, I want to get, mom. So I'll just draw an M real quick and boom, it brings me to an M.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So I wanted to talk about the suspension next because I have such mixed feelings about the suspension in this car. Now, this has something called Road Preview built into it. It has adjustable dampers, of course, which we've already felt with the Sport and Comfort modes in this vehicle. So it adjusts how the shocks react to the road. And with that Road Preview, it actually uses the camera to check the topography of the road ahead, and it adjusts to see like if there's a pothole, if there's dips in the road. It will make the dampers adjust for that before you hit that bump, and I have found that it works fairly well. You don't feel the cracks in the road as much as I do in Tesla products, for example, and going over potholes at speed is just fine. Now, it is a coil spring suspension, so there is limitations to what you can do with here. An air suspension or even Magna Ride that we felt in the Mach-E GT Performance, I believe might be slightly better systems. With an air ride system, you're not going to feel the hobby horsing that this one does. Every single time you come to a stop in this car, it goes back and forth and it shakes. In fact, if you're sitting in a stoplight, you can actually do it with the seat. So that does irritate me a bit. But the comfortable ride on the highway and hitting those bumps at speed kind of makes up for it. The only other thing that I found that it does is on the highway that I thought where it was smooth, you can feel the washboard effect in a road that I didn't know was there. And I did not expect that from a luxury vehicle like this, especially with adjustable dampers. But outside of that, that Road Preview, the adjustable dampers and everything work very well for a sporty driving experience. You'll find that when you take off from a dig in this vehicle, even with the traction control off, oh my God, you might get the tiniest hint of wheel spin, but those 265 millimeter Michelin tires eat it up with ease. Now we're going to put it back in sport mode here and go around a corner and we'll see exactly what that feels like.
Oh yeah.
Oh geez. Okay. Now I cannot believe we're having fun in a 5-seat crossover right now, but going 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds and those dampers, it is a lot of fun. It's not Ioniq 5N fun, but it's fun.
It's a lot of fun. Using the cameras, it's nothing really new to the industry, right? I mean, Mercedes has been doing it since what, the mid 2000s, give or take. But I mean, they do it really well. But like you mentioned, the tires in this thing is the only thing that I hear when we're driving. Yeah. It's a very wide surface, a wide contact, which is wonderful for traction and everything else. But the only thing I hear is the rebound off those, I almost want to say beach ball sized tires. You're getting the boom, boom, whenever we're hitting a little bump.
That's the only sound you hear.
But that is the only sound I hear while we're driving. This thing is so dead quiet.
Yep.
Like, I've got the fan on speed 1 because it's smoking hot outside, so we do have the air conditioning on.
Yep.
But I got the fan on speed 1 and I can hear it. And it's almost bothering me, to be honest. I'm like, I wish I didn't have to listen to that fan.
This is so much quieter than even the Ioniq series of vehicles that already have those double glazed windows. This has double glazed windows all the way around and extra soundproofing throughout the vehicle, and boy does it ever show. Yeah. Which then leads me into the audio system. There is actually active noise canceling built into the audio system, and it comes with something called a Lexicon 15 speaker audio system. I'm going to say this system is good. I'm going to say it's good. because while it's about 1,000 watts for the entire system, it uses free air subwoofers, I believe, underneath the seat or seats. It does not quite have the bass response that I was looking for in a vehicle. When I play music, I like to hear those 808s. And when I went for that first 808 hit from one of my favorite songs, it wasn't there. And it's not there. It does have a beautiful sound, what am I looking for here? It has a beautiful sound to it. It has the trebles, it has the mids, it has most of the lows, but it does not have those subwoofer bass notes. Exactly. But you can turn it up to like 60, you can turn it up to almost max, and there is no clipping in the audio. And I've actually come to appreciate it over the week of driving this car, because I didn't miss that subwoofer low after driving this for a week, because I was able to hear the crisp sounds of every part of a song just without that deep bass, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It is a great system.
Yep.
Now, still talking about, you know, it being quiet and loud in here, as the case may be. I love the HVAC controls. I love where the screen is. You know, in some of the other electrified products from Hyundai and Kia, you know, you have to go into the main radio screen to find stuff.
Yes.
I love that they're all accessible right here at a touch. I love that I have a physical knob for my temperature control. And you know, I got my heated and cooled seats staring me here in the face. The heated the heated steering wheel button. I like that they kept it. They kept it as its own thing.
And it is a haptic feedback, so you can actually feel when you touch it on the screen.
Exactly. So it's very nice.
It's also good ergonomics here, because I know it took me a while to get used to the fact that the volume knob was here, but that's where your hand rests on the armrest. And these buttons, you can actually reach it from the driver's seat. Yeah. So while there's a touchscreen up there, it's hard to reach the touchscreen. You can do it with the knob, or you can do the screen, or you can use these physical buttons, which I really appreciated.
And I mean, I think the last thing to mention too, of course, is this massive vehicle long, oh yeah, you can see it, perfect. This vehicle long moonroof. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
It's a hot day. Let's get some air going. You can see how little hair I have left when the sunroof's open. Well, that's all good.
There goes us talking, though. You won't be able to hear us over that.
We'll be able to hear it.
So, being a luxury car, I'm just going to mention some of the features in here that we did not talk about. Obviously, heated and cooled seats. It's real leather on the seats all the way around, and I believe it is even 30% wool underneath those leather covers, and that's why they're so comfortable. We get auto-dimming mirrors on the sides, and of course the auto-dimming mirror in the center here inside the car. One thing I want to point out, the cruise control, the radar guided cruise control, highway driving assist. Oh my God, does that system work so good. I can't live without highway driving assist. It just centers you perfectly in the lane. The radar keeps you a perfect distance away from the car around you. And it's just so aware of everything that's going on. I love it. On back roads, I set it up so that the steering assist you can turn on or off, because it's a little less perfect on the side roads. Sometimes you want it off, sometimes you want it on. And we have heated steering wheel, as always. What else do we got in here? We have memory seats on the driver's side, 14-way power seat on the driver's side, 12-way power seat on the passenger side, and of course we have these sliding sunshades up here, which every car should have. I don't understand why some don't.
I really don't.
And they even have a sunglass holder, which they seem to be leaving out of a lot of cars nowadays.
The heads-up display for the driver is always nice. I like that you get the radio information as well as the road information. It picks up the traffic signs with the cameras and tells you what kind of a speed zone you're in.
Yep.
You know, just little things. The ambient lighting in here is something we definitely got to mention as far as luxury features go.
Yep.
I like this thin built-in LED they've got all around the control panels, as well as the cool graphics in the doors.
Yep.
And you were saying this is to mimic a mountain range, essentially, is what
If
they
I
were
remember
going
correctly, yes, there's tiered effects to the look inside.
And it's almost
the
like
door
it's
panels.
projected from behind. It just gives it this really cool vibe. Everything about this thing is just comfortable, elegant. It's, you know, it's exactly what you want in a package like this.
Yeah, like the doors unlock when you walk up to it. It displays Genesis on the ground. When the headlights turn on, they don't just turn on, they fade on. So everything is really elegant in here. And when you put it back to comfort mode, you put the cruise control on, it's quiet, you can listen to your music. It's just a really nice place to be.
So what are our final thoughts here on the GV70? Well, we spent a little bit of time with it, and I think I got it right off the top with the Genesis lineup. The attention to detail in the different materials inside, the different touch points, the nice, ambient lighting that's built into the doors, the velour headliner. Everything on this vehicle was made to feel that luxury feeling, and they met that. It's quiet, it's comfortable. The massaging seat is, to die for. But I think what I kept finding with this product is very simply, it's the 2024 Canadian AJAC Journalists Association of Canada Utility Vehicle of the Year. It's not all that utilitarian. That's my standpoint on it. There are other vehicles at this price point, at that $84,000 price point in this market, that would do more than this. It's a great vehicle. If you love the styling like we do, absolutely look at it. If you do need more space, competitive products are out there in the same price range with better numbers.
Yeah, well, if you get the sunshades in the back, you get the heads-up display in this thing, and you're looking for a luxury crossover, honestly, it ticks all the boxes for me. There's only a couple of areas where it fell short. It has a good audio system, and it has adequate range. The range is about 40 to 50 kilometers short for my usage, but there's a lot of people out there that could use this vehicle. And actually, during my testing, it only used about 21.5 kilowatt hours per 100, which equaled a range of about 360 kilometers in my testing. So it does do a good job at that. Now, the whole package though, that's how you have to look at this car, is the entire package. The suspension setup, those wide Michelin tires, the acoustic glass, those massaging seats that you mentioned, they were to die for as I've been driving it this week. And the storage capacity. It's just a great all-around vehicle, and it's amazing that they were able to take an ICE platform, make it electric, and make it so good.
So as always, go below, let us know what you think of this thing. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What else do you want to see while we've got it here on the road? And of course, subscribe, follow the channel, and we're always going to be testing something else cool.
Yeah, well, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.